Obinna wasn't just the quiet boy in SS2B at Glory Heights College, he was the one everyone whispered about. He walked with an air of mystery, his dark eyes always darting, as if searching for something or someone. His classmates avoided him, and the few who dared approach quickly learned that Obinna was not the kind of person you befriended. It started with the incident in JSS 3. Obinna had been caught in the school chapel after hours, muttering in a language no one recognized. The chapel's crucifix had fallen the next morning, its splintered pieces forming what looked like a grotesque face on the floor. Since then, it'd been branded as cursed. But Obinna didn't care. He liked the rumors. He thrived on them. The real story began the day Obinna stole the journal. It was an old, leather-bound book he'd found in his grandmother's trunk during the Christmas holidays. His grandmother had warned him never to touch it. "That book is cursed," she'd said, her voice trembling. But Obinna had never been one to listen. The first time he opened the journal, he felt a rush of cold air, and his vision blurred. Written in faded ink were incantations, rituals, and cryptic warnings. At the very back, in bold red letters, were the words, "The bearer of this book shall wield great power, but at a terrible cost." Obinna, already resentful of the world, had laughed. A terrible cost. What could possibly be worse than his life? Back at school, Obinna began experimenting with the book's contents. At first, it was small things, making the class bully trip over his shoelaces, causing the overly strict mathematics teacher to lose her voice mid-lesson. But the power was intoxicating, and Obinna wanted more. One night, under the cover of darkness, he performed a ritual he found in the journal. He didn't fully understand it, but he didn't care. He followed the instructions to the letter: a candle, a mirror, and a drop of his own blood. As he chanted the incantation, the candle's flame turned black, and the mirror's surface rippled like water. Then, it appeared. A shadowy figure emerged from the mirror, its form shifting and twisting, like smoke trapped in a jar. It spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the earth.
"I am Asia, and I am bound to you now. Your desires are mine to fulfill. But remember, every wish has a price."
Obinna should have been afraid, but he wasn't. For the first time in his life, he felt powerful. The next morning, the school was abuzz with news. John Paul, the head boy and Obinna's sworn enemy, had been found unconscious in the science lab. His body was covered in strange, glowing marks, and he was muttering incoherently about shadows. Obinna smirked. It had worked. But things quickly spiraled out of control. Asia wasn't just granting Obinna's wishes, it was feeding off his anger, his jealousy, his darkness. Like when he caused his English teacher to go blind in the middle of class section. The more Obinna used the book, the more the line between him and Asia blurred. His shadow began moving on its own, sometimes lingering in places long after he'd left. Students reported seeing a dark figure in the corridors at night, its eyes glowing red. And Obinna's power came with an insatiable hunger not for food, but for chaos. One evening, Kemi, the class prefect and the only person who had ever tried to befriend Obinna, confronted him. "I know it's you," she said, her voice trembling. "Whatever you're doing, you have to stop. This thing you've unleashed is hurting people." Obinna laughed, a hollow, chilling sound. "Stop. Why would I stop when I'm finally getting what I deserve?" Kemi's eyes filled with tears. "This isn't you, Obinna. You're better than this." "Better?" Obinna sneered. "I've never been better. You should leave before you become its next target." But Kemi didn't leave. Instead, she began researching the journal. She discovered its origins. It had been created by a powerful sorcerer who had bound his soul to Asia, ensuring the demon would live on through anyone foolish enough to use the book. The only way to break the curse was to destroy the journal and with it, Aisha. The final confrontation came on a stormy night. Kemi cornered Obinna in the school's abandoned art room, the journal in her hands. "It ends here," she said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Obinna'S shadow loomed behind him, larger and more menacing than ever. Aisha's voice echoed through the room.
Foolish girl. Do you think you can destroy me?
Kemi didn't respond. Instead, she held up a match and set the journal ablaze. The room was filled with an unearthly scream as the flames consumed the book. Obinna fell to the ground, clutching his head as Aisha's shadow dissolved into nothingness. When the fire died down, Obinna was left trembling. The power was gone, and with it, the darkness that had consumed him. But the scars remained, not just on his soul, but on everyone he had hurt. Glory Heights College would never be the same. And neither would Obinna. Thanks for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for more exciting story like this. Click the subscribe button, like, and share. See you besties.